As we look ahead to Memorial Day, we want to highlight an incredible journey of courage and hope. This is Jonathan Hancock, a combat veteran. In 2004, he fought in the Battle of Ramadi with the 2nd Battalion, 4th Marines, known as the Magnificent Bastards. They suffered one of the highest casualty rates in the Iraq War. 1 in 4 were wounded or killed. Like so many veterans, Hancock struggled when he returned home from the war, suffering from PTSD. To confront that trauma, he walked nearly 6,000 miles across the country from his home in Maryland to Camp Pendleton in San Diego. He stopped along the way to visit Gold Star families and documented his journey in a new film called Bastards Road.
A Maryland man has been walking across the country since last year.
9,000 kilometers, 5,800 miles? That's a lot of lonely road out there.
They lose part of themselves when they go to war, and we just hope that we can help them get all those pieces and parts back together.
I don't think we're looked at as patriots or heroes. I think we're looked at as damaged goods.
Once you're home, you think it's over. It's just beginning.
You go off to war and you're going to be asked to do unspeakable things. To think that you just went over and did your job, that's pretty ignorant.
Most people, they look at PTSD and they see weakness. It's a survival mechanism. It's what the situations that we were in over there demanded us to behave in a different way.
No one else knows what we went through but them.
Not being able to see these guys or not knowing how they're doing, you tend to lose it. It's hard to communicate.
And United States Marine John Hancock joins us now. John, it's so great to have you with us. We're so grateful for your service, and we're so grateful that you would step up to speak out about this issue that affects so many of your brothers and sisters. Let's hear first a little bit about your journey home. We laid out the battle at Ramadi and other places where you fought over the course of the years. What was it like for you to come back home?
It was pretty jarring. So it's a fish out of water idea, right? I left the Marine Corps end of 2009 honorably, and then moved directly into University of Maryland. I'm double majoring in Arabic and Russian, and immediately I'm in a really weird position where I don't have anybody as a support network inside the college, and although I do have friends around, I'm not really talking to them either. So I found the bars, and once I found the bars, I stopped going to class, and then I started finding more alcohol, and then using that as a coping mechanism to deal with some of these memories. Here's one DUI, a year to the day. There's a second one followed by, in short order, a suicide attempt, which landed me in the Baltimore VA hospital. Once I was there, of course, I realized this was rock bottom, and this was the impetus for the entire journey that would turn into Bastards Road somewhere down the line. I had no inclination, no desire to turn this into a documentary. So about 1,300 miles in Slidell, Louisiana, a acquaintance of mine had called and said, hey, I think we need to document this. And so we kind of felt each other out, and that's really how this entire thing came about.
You know, John, we've talked a lot over the years about the 1% in this country, and it's actually less than 1% who go and pack up and ship out and fight our wars for us. It used to be, you know, World War II or Korea, even Vietnam, you'd come home, there are a bunch of people on your block who also served. But I imagine that adds to the isolation of coming back home when you look around you and there's almost no one who can relate to what you've been through.
You're not wrong in that. And, you know, when you start really talking about veterans versus tried and true, experienced, prolonged combat veterans, that percentage goes down even further. And so when you start looking at those numbers, you realize that we are so spread out and we don't communicate with each other. And I have found that I went into a hole versus deciding to speak out.
John, Caddy Kay's here with a question for you. Caddy?
John, thank you for the documentary and for talking about this. I've known veterans, actually, even from the Second World War, but many more from subsequent wars, who have described their service in a war zone, whether they were in the military or even some of my colleagues who are war journalists, as this time of incredible intensity and almost of clarity and simplicity when they're out in a war zone, and then they come back and life is complicated and perhaps even a little grayer. How do veterans find something to replace the experience, however traumatic and terrible it might have been, something to replace that experience of intensity, of being out in the field, of being in the field of war, with something that fits with normal everyday life?
Well, I won't, and I can't speak for every veteran. I can tell you what I experienced, and I can tell you that in that question, I do feel the same way. I do feel that there was a lot more yes and no, a lot more black and white in combat than there was returning home. Once I did return home, I found that in order to replace the highs of combat, because you'll never feel anything like that ever again, that's true, for me at least. But I did find substance abuse, if you will, alcoholism, just drinking too much. I found that trying to replace the thing that I knew I was never going to be able to replace was almost depressing to me. And there's a great picture out there somewhere that says, I'll never be as good at anything as I once was at war. And that kind of speaks to me. And so I had to try to find something that I could be as good at. And I found that being a spokesperson from not only to speak about myself and my experiences, but to give that to other veterans to hopefully unconsciously give them the ability to start opening up and telling their families what they experienced.
I want to hear from another veteran from the film named Chris McIntosh, who captures the feeling that you're describing. Let's listen.
I go to sleep thinking about people I shot or screaming friends, and I wake up with that exactly on my mind. As soon as I'm still laying in bed trying to roll out, I'm just thinking about dead friends or death. It's just death, 24/7. And it's weird. I know more about death than life and living. Can't figure that one out.
It's hard to listen to, John, but it's so real. How do we do better as a country? How do we do better as a government taking care of our veterans, but really as a society at acknowledging the pain that you and other vets are going through and doing something about it?
Thank you so much for that, and I really enjoy that question because I think I have a few answers here. One, I could spend the next year disparaging the VA. I won't. It's a broken system, and we've realized that. The beautiful thing here is that veterans have really taken it upon themselves to build nonprofit systems to help each other. And there are a million nonprofits out there that are absolutely worth your time and energy. They're all over the country. So I urge you as civilians to go out and seek out these nonprofits in your local area. And I don't care if you can give $1, then give it if you want, but volunteer with them, experience seeing what veterans do when they're around each other, because it is absolutely healing. And I think secondly, and I'm going to give you a little bit of something here. It's kind of a secret in the veteran community, so I'll probably get yelled at for it. We make fun of thank you for your service. We don't make fun of you, and we make fun of how we respond to it, because for the combat guys, it's, thank you for your service. Well, what are you thanking me for? Are you thanking me for killing a kid, for watching my buddy die? And then on the opposite side of the house, the guys and gals that never got to do their job in combat, are you thanking me for training but never getting to go and complete my job? And so it becomes a very awkward position for both people involved. And so I think it's easier if we dispel that altogether, and then we say welcome home. And when we say welcome home, we mean it, because we have to bring these guys and gals back into the fold of society, give them a real chance at progressing through life and being an open ear and just listening without judgment. Because a lot of us, and I know that for a fact, especially in my world, it took me a long time to open up for fear of reprisal.
Well, what you're doing right now is as important as anything you could be doing, which is sharing that with us. First of all, I agree with you. Thank you for your service has almost become trite at this point. It's the easy cliche thing, and the intentions are always good. But I hear what you say, and I've heard the same thing from veterans that I work with all the time. But the fact that you're making this film and coming out publicly and talking about it is so critically important, and we're so grateful that you're doing it. The film is called Bastards Road. It's streaming now, video on demand. Really, every American should stop, take a look, listen, and help where you can. John Hancock, thank you so much for everything, and congratulations on this film. That does it for us this morning. Stephanie Ruhle picks up the coverage right now.